Welcome along to the first video blog of Sport Like It Is. My name is Ed Sellier, editor of Rugby Journey. Alongside me is Ben, editor of thebounce.co.za. How are you doing, Ben?
Oh, yeah. Great, Ed. Awesome. Great weekend. And here we are on a Sunday.
Very nice indeed. We're here to talk about what's been going on in the South African media, particularly sports, of course. That's the way we like to do it. And we're going to be reflecting on the weekend that was with Super Rugby. Now, a lot happened this weekend. Games were a little bit drab. The Sharks came up short yesterday. People talking a lot about nerves on the day. A lot of travelling. They had to go 11,000 Ks after a big game in Loftus last week. What really struck me, though, was the way Stefan Blanche responded at the end of the day. He was humble in defeat.
Yeah, sure.
Praised the Crusaders. And I just want to hear what your thoughts are on the way the game went.
Well, look, I mean, I get a lot of stick on my blog and on Twitter that I don't give the Sharks enough daytime about how good they are. But after that game at Loftus, and I was there, it was a hard match. So now you got that, end of the season, and you got to travel. There was the dust cloud as well, so travel wasn't exactly what it could have been. And up against the Crusaders at home, well, they're a tough prospect. And I think the Sharks were always going to be a little bit, well, not flat, but just not big enough for the encounter.
Yeah, they were slightly jaded, and they kind of, I got the sense that they left it all in the field at Loftus. The breakdown last week, they were absolutely immense. They dominated the big bashful's completely the wrong word. Bish bash rugby.
Well, a couple of their players are quite bashful, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. But Blanche was kind of reasonably happy with the season. I think that they were a bit were poor, particularly, and you mentioned earlier that against the Stormers in Durban, that's where they came unstuck.
Yeah, they got totally bullied, and I think the Sharks did lack a bit of physicality at times, and they definitely showed yesterday in the beginning. You know, they could have put points on against the Crusaders, but it was either the fatigue or they didn't have the killer instinct at the end there. You know, and it's maybe something for next season to focus on. They always talk about their big sort of blunt loose forwards and how they're always bashing guys, but from the back line you haven't got sort of any big hitters, and the tight five were really fine wanting, I think.
Moving on, I read a piece today in the Star. Jacques van der Vesthuis in an extensive interview with Butch James. Really interesting, actually. He obviously came back from Bath, a couple of great years with them. He said his rugby improved immensely, and he's come back now and he's played 4 or 5 games for the Lions or something, and he looked good when he played inside centre. He looked solid, and when he was playing at 10 as well, he also looked like he was on his game. His kicking was superb. Going forward, do you think he's got a chance of making it? 2007 World Cup, he was there. Has he got a chance now?
Well, I suppose, we look at, obviously Butch's big thing is being the number 10 for the World Cup. Now, if you look at all the World Cups in the past, I mean, 87 was Grant Fox, 91 Liner, 95 Stransky, Larkham 99, and of course Johnny Wilkes in 2003. Now, Butch was, in my opinion, one of the big heroes of 2007. But because he wasn't shooting at the sticks, he wasn't actually seen as one of those massive World Cup winning fly-halves, but he is, no doubt. But now, 2011, 4 years on, he has at the time over there. Obviously, it's going to sort of broaden his game, but I don't think he's quite going to be fresh enough. And I think our limited game plan does suggest that we need someone who's pretty much a dead-eye dick at the post. So if we haven't got Butch kicking, who's going to kick?
Warner Stain's got to kick. He's got to be there at 10.
Warner Stain, therefore, is going to be the front runner, I think.
Of course. And then, of course, you've got Frans Steyn, who everybody's saying is going to play at 15. His kicking was immense in that last World Cup. He's got the legs on every kick he has. It's going to be wet down there. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that back line, because they're saying the conditions are going to be soaking wet, so we might see a lot of it being up in the forwards, like it always is. Tactically, it's always contested up front.
Oh, for sure. I mean, World Cups aren't exactly what you call exciting showpieces of rugby. You get that in Super Rugby, you get that in Currie Cups, that kind of stuff. World Cups are all about battles of attrition. Great for cliches for the Super Sport guys. I mean, Brosnyhan and those boys, they're going to have a field day. It's going to be amazing.
Who would you have at 10?
Games are too hot. I would love to see Lambie at 10. I really would. I think it would be a bold call, but I can't see Morne State not being given that jersey. Especially with, game plan's going to be like this. And when it's like this, we're looking at a fly if he does just that.
Would you rather Springboks were brave as well? I mean, I kind of see it as, if we get to a quarter-final, we get ahead of Wales, they'll qualify second. You would assume in our
first game September 11th, yeah.
So they qualify second, we qualify top. That means we should have either Australia or Ireland, if I've checked myself correctly.
Yeah, that's correct.
In the quarterfinals. Yeah. And I must admit, I would like to see the Springboks be brave. If we get knocked out in the quarterfinals and we were brave, we can say, okay, look, the young guys have got experience now. We'll build towards 2015 and take it from there. But I agree. I think Pat Lambie at 10 would be awesome. I think there is an argument to be said that Pat Lambie coming off the bench could prove to be pivotal in this because of the impact he could have. He's slippery in the tackle. He's kind of like Dan Carter. He rides the tackle to the ground. He breaks through. He's good on defense. He's solid.
Massively important on defense. Yeah, he's good. Very good.
And so I would say probably Butch, looking likely that he's not going to make it, but between Pat and Morna, I'd say those are the two.
Well, I mean, getting back to your point about being bold, like essentially, New Zealand are out and out favourites, no doubt. So you got to think, what is our team going to be that's going to beat those guys? Who's going to foil Carter? Who's going to foil Sonny Bill? What team are we going to put together for that? Now, if we need to be adventurous in the fly-off channel, if that's going to be our game plan. So if we say, okay, this is the hardest thing about beating New Zealand, it's Carter and Sonny Bill. How are we going to thwart them? So then it'll be, okay, well, Morna Steyn, it's going to be high balls and it might be the odd skip pass, but I mean, we're being adventurous now just saying that. So you think, is Lambie going to do it, or could Butch really sort of manage that and actually own Carter on the day? So it sways towards Butch if we look at it like that.
Nice piece by Jacques van der Westhuizen in the Star today. Head over to I think it's the star.co.za to have a look at that. Very nice, and some good comments from Butch as well. Ricky Januarie retired this weekend from international rugby. I thought quite a noble call.
Yeah, very noble, Ricky. A part of me is thinking that him and PW sat down, had a bit of a chat, and PW said, look, bro, I can't carry you literally or figuratively anymore. And he stepped aside. He's got this deal with Leon, which I think is quite a score. I mean, I'm not going to go into if it's a good thing or not for Leon, but the guy's essentially got his golden handshake. It's sorted for him now to go into the World Cup, play behind Farida Priya and Francois Hougaard. Well, unmerited that would be. I think it'll be a very frustrating few months, and I think he's made this sort of nice clean break now. So yeah, all the best to him. Thank you.
I must admit, a noble call from Ricky Januarie, and you'd rather he retired now before it's too late and he really is just seen as a miserable scrum off.
I think that the Bulls game at Newlands really highlighted it. I mean, he looked like he was in third gear with the handbrake still on. There was very much beeping noises when he went backwards. He wasn't what you want in a live wire sort of scrum off for any team, really.
Exactly. Anton van Zyl, he's also heading off. He's going to Stade Francais. Interesting, hey? We were saying earlier, 26, 27, good time in your career to be going. 4 or 5 years there, come back. What do you reckon?
Well, I think he's one of those guys who was very good, and he showed in the Barbarians game last November against the Box. He's definitely one of the guys who get up with his big performances, but he was never quite good enough to go and shine above Andries Becker or any of his sort of peers at Province. He was good for the Lions, but then again, I think a lot of guys could have been good for the Lions in his era. And once again, you get the opportunity to play overseas, make some cash, go for it.
The Euro, proving a big lure and a dangling carrot, as always. Right, looking ahead quickly to the next weekend, we've got the Blues Reds. Where's your money there? They're going to have to travel. And interesting, the way the qualifiers have worked. The Blues finishing lowest qualifier and having to travel the shortest distance. The Crusaders obviously having to come against the time here. What are your thoughts there, quickly?
Well, that's just Super Rugby for you, huh? I mean, that's the qualification thing. Look, I think that the Blues haven't got a kicker. They couldn't kick a bucket in the rain. They're just useless in that regard. And I think they're going to need that against the Reds.
Really interesting piece, just to wrap up quickly, from Rob Howing today on Sport 24, looking at Beware the Beard Stormers. That front row of the Crusaders, low centre of gravity, all looking very Viking-esque. Yeah. Interesting battle up front. Do you reckon that's where it's going to be won?
Definitely the big games. They lay the platform, and if you've got the tendency there, I mean, everything else becomes easier for sure.
Exactly. Thanks very much, guys, for watching this week. Head over to sportlikeItis.com. That is going to be our website from now on. You can get us on Twitter, SLII, with a hashtag. Send us your questions. Give us some things to talk about next week. We will see you then. Thank you.
Ciao.